Hello everyone. Good evening. This I'm Maria Battaglia. It's Instagram live about our Italian film festival. It's Valerio now is connected. Uh, I thank you. Oh, ok, ok. Good evening, buonasera, buongiorno. Valerio Caruso.
Hello.
I am Maria Battaglia. I'm a director of Italian Culture Institute and also festival director. This the second edition of Italian Film Festival. Okay. Thank you for joining us, for participating to this discussion, talk about cinema, Italian cinema, Europe cinema, and general cinema nowadays after pandemic. But at first, I would like to introduce this edition of the Italian Film Festival 2023. The Embassy of Italy and Italian Culture Institute are pleased to present a selection of 8 recent films from January 21st to 29th January. Thanks to renewed collaboration with the Cinecittà in Rome, it's possible to now to realize this second major appointment with Italian cinema, which was awarded in the most important national and international festival. And this edition, the public finally will be able to see the 8 films this year in presence with the screenings at the CGV Grande Indonesia and the Italian Culture Institute in Jakarta, and also at the Institut Français in Jakarta, another town, important town in Java. Okay, now I introduce you Valerio Caruso, director of Cineuropa, or Cineurope, as you want. And I invite Valerio Caruso to present himself about his activity and the activity of Cineuropa. Europe.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for the technical issue. I'm not very used to it. And then I'm director of Cineuropa, which is a website on European cinema, which has been conceived 20 years ago to promote European cinema worldwide. So it's a website in 4 languages, but so also in English, of course, in French, Spanish, and Italian. It is supported by the European Union and by other member states, and we do a lot of film reviews, interviews to filmmakers, so many articles, trailers. You have a lot of videos. We are covering the most important festival in the world, and we have a collaboration with something with 70 festivals. And I'm also working on a project of the European Union, which is a project to support the organization of film festivals by the delegation of the European Union in the world. So we are working with more or less 100 countries. So we buy the rights of the films, and we send those films to the countries where the delegation can use those films to organize European film festivals as well.
Okay, thank you. Now I would like to discuss with you, because you are a long experience in this field of the cinema, industry of the cinema also, and to give to our public some views about cinema today, especially the situation of the film industry in Europe, especially in Italy, of course. Is the film production already running at full capacity or not?
Okay.
What about this?
Well, there is a general remark to do. First of all, is that in 2019 it was an exceptional year. So before COVID, before the pandemic, especially in Italy, it was an exceptional year in terms of admissions in cinemas. It was the highest years since many years. People really went to cinema. With the pandemic, of course, during 2 years, people stopped going theaters. But the general trend in not only in Italy but in the whole Europe, there are three main trends that we can see in Europe. The first is that the audiovisual sector has a very low growing capacity. The audiovisual sector means television, VOD services, cinema, etc. And there is a dichotomy between cinema, so cinema which is on the films which are on cinema, released on cinema, and the VOD or SVOD platforms. So, for example, from 2018, the SVOD, so the platforms, increased by 82% in terms of growing. Whereas the other markets, so the public television, the cinemas, so the cinema halls, remain stable in the last 10 years. So no growing, stable. So this is a big dichotomy where you have big increase of SVOD services, the platforms, and the revenues which are constant on the other sector or of the global audiovisual market. So the thing that televisions and producers are trying to do is to reallocate the resources from cinema, so films which are destined to the cinema hall, to series.
Okay. Yes.
And also the televisions, which are very competitive with the Netflix, Disney Plus, etc. They are also reallocating resource and money to invest very intensively in series. So we have shifting of resources to promote and to produce series. Also public televisions in Italy, in France, in Spain, elsewhere. And the third big trend that we saw in the last 10 years, I would say, it's a big phenomenon of concentration between groups. Big groups are merging. For example, the 23 Fox has been bought by Disney, for example. That's fused with the Viacom, but also a lot of big American groups are now buying important production companies in Europe. So there is a big phenomenon of concentrations. What happened with the pandemic is that those three processes I was explaining are just accelerating. So the COVID accelerated the trends that were already in place in the last 10 years. So to answer your question, I did this introduction to try to understand the global audiovisual system in the world and in Europe. So in Europe and in Italy, you see a lot of resources being brought from cinema to, and especially to the platforms.
Yes, a streaming platform. Yes, yes. It's very difficult now to come back public. Come back to cinema, physical cinema, not to at home watch the TV platform. It's not the same emotion also situation, and it's different. And can, for example, now, Cineuropa, how does Cineuropa can play an important role in the European film industry? Can do more action, many action to increase the public at cinema.
Well, we are a way to promote cinema, but I think we alone we cannot really change things, because as you said before, people, especially in Italy, because we are talking about Italy, people are not coming back to cinemas. In France, in Belgium, in Spain, in Germany, the audience is coming back to cinemas. In Italy, there is a phenomenon. The people are not coming to cinemas, especially the old generation, the over 50. The young people are coming back to cinemas, but the audience, which were the plus 50, is gone. Generally, in Italy we have an older population, and also because of the sanitary measures that has been taken in Italy, which were very stronger than in other countries. So we have to wear the mask, and people in Italy were really afraid of
COVID. Yeah.
And of course, COVID cinema is a place where you can really have spread COVID. So people were afraid, and because COVID is hitting older people, older population, they're not coming back to cinema. So this is a real problem in Italy. So for me, the problem of Cineuropa cannot do a lot, because we are promoting cinema, but there really need to have other kind of structural inputs, structural initiatives. For example, in Belgium, they created a card, flat fee per month, I think it's 20 euros. And with this card, you can watch limited number of films in art house cinemas, for example. So you can have you pay 20 euros, and you can go every day to the cinema to watch European films, art house films. This is one example. Another example is that they did some initiatives to put the ticket price for certain days at €1.
Okay.
Promote the audience to come back to Europe. Then there are other very strong initiatives, is to support financially the distribution of films. So to help distributors in the marketing and distribution, because you know that one very important element of getting is promotion. You don't have if you don't have promotion and marketing. This is why Americans are so strong, because they spend half in production and half in marketing and promotion. European, they spend 100% in production and very few in marketing and promotion. So there are some initiatives from the government or authorities in France, in Belgium, in Spain to help the distributors with financially, with money. So this exists also in Italy, of course, but maybe it could be accelerated. So I think, and as you said, also there is a phenomenon of people staying home and watching watching television or watching platforms, but they are not coming back not only to cinemas. The audience is also not going to theaters, not going to music. So either they stay at home or they go open air at restaurants, for example.
Yes, it's now always the consequences of COVID, the people are still afraid about, scared about infection, about all things linked to health, and the link also to coronavirus. And I think also strategy marketing, it's important for Italy to find another marketing or strategy of marketing to invite the public to renew with the cinemas. And anyway, for our festival, this is the second edition, and we want to promote Italian film, new Italian film. It's very different. The Italian film comedy, between comedy, drama, realism, and everything. But we chose for this edition 8 films, 8 movies, 2 documentary, and 6 film, and especially we would like to show to public, local public, a different view of Italian society today. It's a society different from society of neorealismo, from Commedia all'Italiana, also from other film like Nuovo Cinema Paradiso or Mediterraneo or La Vita è Bella. Currently, director of the film, it's a writer, script, it's different. And Italian society today is has a different problem or situation, new situation like multiculturalism. Also, they fight against discrimination, for example, and also new generation, young people, it's different. With their problem, also their hope, their dreams, and according to you, for example, what influences this perspective and development? For example, do you think it also the situation is is resembles the younger generation is true. For example, if I don't know if you watched Nostalgia or Piccolo Corpo, Small Body by Laura Samani, it's emerging director, or other new film. Our program is different. For example, California, with the young actress, Italian actress, but from Morocco, because their parents are origin Moroccan. This situation about you, what do you think? It's a real Italian society or not?
About young situation, about well, let me. This is my personal opinion. I don't think the authors in Italy, the filmmakers in Italy, are doing films to answer to specific trends, or they have in mind a particular audience. I think because when I speak with them, when I do interviews with the authors, they are answering me that they are doing films for themselves, but of course they think they want their film to be seen, of course, but they are telling their own experience, their own life. Generally, it's very common, this answer. You know, for example, you had È stata la mano di Dio,
di Paolo Sorrentino, sì.
Autobiographic. We bought Mio fratello ricorda i dinosauri, which is another Italian film, which is the history of the filmmaker. We had Down brother. We have another film which is Easy Living, which is by two Italian directors, and they also the experience of their daily life being between different cultures. So the answer is yes. Is answering a mirror of the society, yes. But because the authors and the filmmakers, maybe 80% of the case, they are telling their own stories, and their own stories, they are stories of today's stories. So immigration, tensions, probably fear for the future, climate change. There is a very important phenomenon of repulsion, against politicians. They sort of believing that all the politicians are corrupted, and politics is bad. Another autobiographic films is the film from Emanuele Crialese.
Exactly.
In Venice last year. Is his personal history. Emanuele Crialese was a woman, Emanuela, and she or he changed sex. So it's the story of him, and this is also a reflection of the society. In the 80s, 70s, 80s, it was nearly impossible, in Italy, to speak about homosexuality, or even worse, to change.
Coming out, not possible. No. Yes.
Between the televisions and the platforms and the author-driven filmmakers that goes to cinema, is that the series, Netflix, Disney Plus, or even RAI, or the big public television or private television, they need to answer to a public. So they must be sure that the films or the series are seen. So they are answering a taste, which is documented by surveys, questionnaires. They do evaluation of the series which works best, and they try to imitate or do something similar.
Okay. About the co-production, now co-production continue between between Europe and other country, USA of course, but also other overseas countries. For example, between Italy and Indonesia, maybe one day in the future, I think it will be possible to have a co-production. Why not? Because
Europe is vital, because in Europe most of the films are co-produced, but within Europe, because you have what is called the co-production treaties. There is a European co-production treaty, meaning that if Italy co-produce with France, you know.
Many co-production, yes.
Treated like a French film, so you can receive money from French, and is eligible to receive money from French. So there are many co-production in Europe, because there are treaties between countries. So there is a legal path to encourage co-production. There is also another way to co-produce, because there is a big fund. It's called Eurimage, which brings together something like 40 countries, so the European Union, but also other countries like Georgia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, Albania are not part of the Union, but they are part of Eurimage. And so it's also possible to bring together those countries, because they are under this legal umbrella, which is Eurimage, or because countries have co-production agreements. For example, France, which is the most developed country in Europe, has a lot of bilateral co-production treaties with many countries, especially the ex-colonies, Morocco, Tunisia, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, or for Canada, for example. They have co-production treaties with Canada. So you have a legal umbrella, and you can work to put together money, and you can receive public money from both states. There is another factor which is present in France and in Germany, but not in Spain, but not in Italy. They have funds, specific funds for third countries, so outside Europe. So, for example, France has a fund which is called Aide au Cinéma du Monde. So,
Cinéma du Monde, yeah.
Which can finance films from all over the world. So from Africa, from Indonesia, from South America, for example. So this is possible for an Indonesian production company to apply to the funds to the fund in France and have a co-production with France. It's much easier because there is money available. It's the same with the Germany, the Berlinale, so the film festival, the Berlinale, they have the World Cinema Fund, which is the same. So they give money to third countries. So it's also very easy for an Indonesian production company to ask money to the World Cinema Fund in Berlin, and to link and to co-produce with a German production company. Okay, in Spain they have the same, but only with Latin American countries. They have a fund which is called Ibermedia, and they finance the production between Latin America and Spain. Italy, they don't have the funds, so it's much more difficult for an Indonesian producer to work with Italian, because there is no legal umbrella, there is no co-production treaty between Italy and Indonesia, and because there is no funds that allow to work for Indonesian to work, to ask money in Italy. In principle, because no one can say everybody can join together, and if there is an Indonesian filmmaker and an Italian producer, they can match and they can work together. But there is no, this sort of legal path, legal umbrella, and there is no specific funds to it.
Yes. Of course, it's important to have agreement, a general agreement. And I know Ministry of Culture, Italian Ministry of Culture, give a contribution to co-production, but especially, for example, between France and Italy, there are many co-production in the past also, and now, I think. But for other co-production, nothing. Is it true? Huh? It's right.
No. Italy is strongly supporting cinema, and there is a lot of cooperation between Italy and other countries, with Slovenia, with Albania, with France, with Spain. So there is a lot of with Belgium, but because there is a legal framework and because there are funds.
Yes, a framework. Yes, a general framework.
It's a private initiative, It's a private initiative between two producers, one from Indonesia, from Italy, to join together. It can happen, but there is no legal framework, so there are more difficulties and less money.
Yes, I know. But for example, you continue the cinematography industry in Italy this year, for example, last year, they produce many movies, I think, for cinema, for some Christmas, for example, holidays. It's important to produce, to screen some film for all people, for families, and as usual, as usual, every year. But I know many movies between 21 and 22. Is right? Or
yes.
Is it decreased the number of movie set, for example?
No, it didn't decrease, and it didn't stop during the pandemic.
Yes, this I know. Stop it. Also, movie set. Stop it. Closed.
They didn't stop during the pandemic, and Italy was very good in this because they set up guidelines, very strict guidelines, and they could move. And also during the pandemic, they could work. So there is no decrease in production. A little bit of decrease. So some production companies stopped or deleted the production, the shooting, and the situation now is that there is an explosion of in Europe. There is a lot of production because the delay, the project that has been delayed in 2020 and 2021 that are shooting now, and also because there is a very strong competition among the platforms, so Disney Plus, Netflix, and Amazon, to produce local content, okay?
Mhm.
Not
Okay.
local content. So to go to Italy and they produce content for Italian public or for French public in France, no? You know, so there is an explosion of audiovisual production, even so cinema and series. And I'm talking with producers, and they're telling me that there is no manpower, there is no staff, there is no crew. They don't find technicians. They don't find editors, production assistants, because there are too many productions going on now. So,
Okay.
which is a good thing. It's a good positive element.
Oh, thank you so much, Valerio. Just a last word for our public to invite to come and see the 8 movies. And what do you like to say, to tell our public about this selection that you know, to come? We invite everybody.
I strongly encourage the public, the audience, to watch the film. Unfortunately, I didn't see all the films that were presented, but for example, Piccolo Corpo is a wonderful, nice film, very strange, very particular, realistic, or California Nostalgia, which has been presented last year, a very big hit as well. So I think cinema is the way to discover other countries, other culture, and you can travel with your mind in other countries. So I really thank you for the big effort you are doing in promoting Italian cinema in Indonesia. And from Europe, we also hope to see more Indonesian films, because they are not coming. This is something we should encourage.
Yes, of course. Our mission is also promote valorization, and why not in the future buyers can will be interested to screen European film, European movies. That interesting also. And now I thank you so much, Valerio, for your participation, and thank you to our public for joining us. And I would like to remember our ITAFF. ITAFF starts on Saturday, on Saturday, on the 21st January, and at Cinema CGV Grande Indonesia, but also at the Italian Culture Institute. We start with the Nostalgia, with our great actor, Pier Francesco Favino. I remember also the tickets are free, and you need only to register our presence, and enough. It's all. Grazie ancora Valerio per questa tua partecipazione. Lo dico adesso anche in italiano, un po' di italiano non fa male. I film sono, the film are in Italian language, but of course with subtitles in English. And maybe next year subtitle in Indonesian. Why not? Thank you so much, and I give you appointment on Saturday. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Bye. Have fun.